Hello everyone, Glenda Mollet here from In My Craft Room, Stamping with Glenda. I am going to stamp a card today using the Beauty Abounds stamp set and Butterfly Beauty dies. This is a card that I cased from France Martin, and it has a cute little fun fold on the outside with the designer paper as well as on the inside. Look at that. You see it? It pops up when you open the card. Isn't that awesome? A couple of tricks for you on how to make this run smoothly today too. There's the envelope. So there's the recipe on the back. We're using fresh fig, powder pink, and lemon lime twist. Now all of these will be retiring at the end of May, so if you want to get them, better hurry up. The lemon lime twist cardstock is already sold out. So this is a little diagram of how to prepare the inside fold. So it's a piece of cardstock that's 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. Then you score it down the middle at 4 1/8. Then you measure down 2 inches and you measure over 2 1/4 inches. And you score from the 2 1/4 down to the 2 inch on both sides, and that's the folding part. So I'll show you how to do that. Meanwhile, there we are. Now I'm just going to check and make sure that it's oriented properly, because sometimes these videos do really strange things. So I'm just pulling it up. Yep, it's good. Okay. So this is one of our monthly Stamping Club cards for May 2019, and then once the club is over, I will be releasing it onto my YouTube channel, but right now it'll be a private club member only video. So the club host code for May is right here. If you need to put your order in early, or you want to, you live out of town and you're a virtual member, so that's the code that you'll use, and it'll link it back to the main order. Sorry, I'm trying to find something and got a little disconnected there for a sec. So I have a lot of pieces already done, because this is the Butterfly Beauty dies, and you need to use 2 pieces. There's a fat one for the background, and then there's a thinner one for the foreground. So this is the die set, and there is 20 dies in this die set. Now this stamp set and dies will be bundled until the 3rd of June, and then they'll still be available in the new catalog, but they won't be bundled, and you won't get the 10% saving anymore. So if you've been on the fence about ordering this, oh my goodness, you need this set in your stamping room, because it is so versatile with all the little background pieces. Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So I die cut the black one and I die cut the pink one, and I put adhesive sheets on the back of the pink one, which of course are not going to be available any longer in the new catalog, but they're still available as of right now. And I suggest you get some, because for these little tiny dies, you can't beat it. All right. There's the envelope. And here's the piece, the inside piece. So it folds one way up to the 2 inch mark, and then it folds this separate the other way, then 2 inches up. And then this is the scoring here and here. And then when you fold it, you fold this in or out, this part in, and then it folds in on those fold lines. So I'm going to show you how to create that. I have a 8 1/2 by 11 inch piece of cardstock here, and we want our cardstock to be, let me get the recipe out for you. We want our cardstock to be 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. So let's do the 5 1/4 piece first. We don't need that one. There we go. And then we need 8 1/4. So because the cardstock is 8 1/2, I know that I need to cut off 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just lining it up with the 1/4 inch line on this side of the cutting groove. There we go. And just cutting off a 1/4 inch. Get rid of that. And take this out of the way. Now we need the score tool. And this is what I use to score all of my stuff, is the score tool, because the blade on the scoring blade on the cutter works, but I don't have time to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just to make it deep enough. So because this is 8 1/4, halfway is 4 1/8. So just score that at 4 1/8. And we'll get rid of that tool. Now, my ruler and a pencil. So the first thing you do is measure down 2 inches on the center score line. And then you measure over 2 1/4 inches. And then you measure over from this side at 2 1/4 inches. Like that. Now, this part doesn't have to be too precise because it works both ways. And I think, see, this one, I measured 2 1/4 from here, so that one is a bit longer. So here's the two of them side by side. And you see I measured 2 1/4 from the center and 2 1/4 from the center. This one I've measured 2 1/4 from the end. And you'll see that it doesn't really matter. As long as you have it equal on both sides, it will work. Okay, so now we need the stylus. And this is the take your pick tool, and it has 2 different styluses on it. A really big one, and then a not so big one. And if you're careful and don't push too hard, you can use that one. Then you just lock it in. Okay, get my ruler back out here. And I put my stylus on that 2 inch mark and put the ruler up against it. And then, well, I will, but I got to get my hand out of the way. There. So you put it on the 2 inch mark, then you move the ruler up to it and then line it up. Can you see that? I'm hoping it's still in camera. So then you just do a score. And you don't need to push too hard. But if you don't have these foam mats, then you're going to want a paper piercing mat. Get this out. See this? If you don't have foam on your desk, you need something with foam on it, because that's what lets you have a nice score line. So I'm doing the same thing. Put my stylus there, and I'm lining it up with that mark that I made, and just gentle pressure just to make a score line on there. All right. So now we need the bone folder, and this was a bone folder I received at Center Stage a couple of years ago. Center Stage is a dinner that Stampin' Up! Puts on for its Silver Elite and above. They call us managers, but it's just like Silver Elite and above. It's just that we manage a team. That's why it's called managing. So I'm just scoring from that point down, or burnishing, sorry. Then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to burnish from that mark up. And then, before I go any further, I'm just going to take my pencil marks off. There we go. Okay, so now you make this one go that way, make this one go this way, and then you just kind of bend on that fold that you created there, just like that. And then if you close this, it'll just naturally fold on the other one. And at this point, I just line things up to make sure that it's going to be straight before I burnish that score line in with my finger, because I'm going to just go along here with my bone folder and make sure it sits down nice now. If you don't burnish your folds, they tend to pop back up. There we are. So that's how to do that. Wonder how I got ink on that. Oh well, things happen. So there we go. That's how you do the inside. Now we'll get busy and do some stamping. So these are all the pieces. There's my inside piece. This is the designer paper that goes on the front, and it layers over top of a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's exactly the same size, because you want it to show on the inside when you put these back. Now this one, I had the green part out and the pink part in. So I think I'm going to do it the other way so you can see the difference in the designer paper. So I'm just using my ruler and lining it up at the corner and the end of that. This is cut right in the middle, and it's cut in 2 inches. Now this is 5 1/4, so right in the middle is 1 dot less than 2 3/4. Okay, so 2 3/4 is halfway on 5 1/2, but we're 5 1/4. So there's the 2 1/2, and you just, or the 2 3/4, and you just go down one. So that's 2 5/8. Yep, just let me check. Yep, 2 5/8. And that's the center of your designer paper. Then you cut in 2 inches. It just gives you a nice clean cut. Now I'm just going to line this up because I don't want to just pull it back and start folding, because sometimes you have issues of it not folding right into the corner. So I'm just making a practice score line, and then I'll fix it when I have it all scored. Okay, pencil out of the way. Do the same thing on this side. It gives me a start, and I end up with good foldy lines. So there we go, just burnishing it with my finger temporarily. There, and see how it gives you a nice corners. Well, this one's not so nice, but that's okay. We'll see if I can fix that while I'm doing the burnishing. Nope, I want it to go this way a bit. There we go. Now for that, you're going to lay this on here like this. And I'm going to put just a little bit of tape underneath here so that it lays down and doesn't pop back up again. And this is Terran tape that I'm using. Take the liner off. And fold it back. There, now see, it doesn't pop up. If you want raised, free-floating corners, then by all means, don't put it down. It looks perfectly fine that way, but I have OCD and my body won't let me. I can't have things free-floating like that. Okay, so I've just got this on here temporarily. I haven't glued it down yet, but this just allows me to find out where the center of that cardstock is. Now, let me straighten things out here. I got things a little on the crooked side. And if it's not precise, it's not a big deal. Pardon my head if it's in there. So I'm just stamping this in the center, up over towards the edge of the cardstock. Yay, it worked. Okay, now we can attach it. I probably could have attached it before, but if I screw up, then this allows me to flip the cardstock over or get a new piece. Sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to work out. There, I just want to make sure the whole thing is covered so that it lays down nice and flat. And pieces on the edge of the flap here. All right, and you remember the bunny ears. And because this is 2 pieces, I have to have 2 bunny ears on this side. Now this one is going underneath here, so I have to lift that up a bit so I can get the liner out from underneath there. There we go. Do this corner. Maybe. Where's my pokey tool? I never have trouble with this, with taking the liners off until I get on my videos, and then I have such issues. I don't know what the difference is. Okay, and one more here. There, so now we have our rabbit ears already, and it's going to go onto the Whisper White that we already stamped on. And you want to line it up. So you're covering the Whisper White. And then just slowly pull the ears off. Well, hopefully they'll come off. This was the one that had the 2 pieces. And this one. That one. Now, it ripped here, so I'm just going to lift it a bit so I can get that liner off of there. And then this one, I have to pull as well. There we go. I got it. There. Then just lay it down nice and flat. And we're going to put this right onto our card base, just the way it is. There we go. So it's Sunday morning here while I'm taping this. I'm just waiting for my laundry to be done so I can go put it out on the line because it's absolutely gorgeous out there. And I feel so sorry for people from the interior of British Columbia and Alberta because they had a huge snow dump yesterday. It's not going to last long, but it just means that it was shoveling time if you needed to get out of your driveway. We lived up north in northern British Columbia for 11 years. That was long enough for me. Too much snow. I do love the snow, but not the shoveling part. All right, put our corners down. Oops, I don't know why that one always rips. There's always one that doesn't come off nice and clean. Then you kind of gotta raise things and try and capture that little piece of liner that's in there. It's in there. There it is. There we are. So there's our card front done. Except for the butterflies, and those come off of this once we have it all together. Now, I got a few things that need to be poked out. Now, there's no adhesive on the back of this because only the very bottom of the butterflies get attached to anything. The top ones are free-flowing. Now, if you wanted to make it a little bit more solid than 2 pieces of cardstock, you could use 2 black layers instead of just the 1, and it does help it stand up a little bit better. I'm getting there. Just a few little stubborn pieces, and I don't want them in when it's time to put the pink one on. Okay, we'll get rid of those. And there's that. Now this is the pink. It's powder pink, and it has a liner on the back. And when you remove that liner, sometimes it takes all the rest of the little pieces that are stuck in there with it You just have to go very slowly so that it has time to take the little pieces with it. And then we'll see how much we have left to remove. You've got to be very careful with this because it is quite delicate and it rips. Sometimes the antennas come off. And see, it took a lot of the little pieces with it because they have adhesive on them and they will stick. And then we'll just turn it over. And if you just do that with your finger, because they have adhesive on them, they will stick to your finger most of the time. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more persuasive, like that one. It's the little ones that are the hardest to get off. Oh, there's a piece hiding back there. And there's a piece right here that shouldn't be there. And one little one up there. There we are. I think we got it. Okay, so I'm just going to lightly place that down while I get all these little pieces off of my finger. Because I can't work with little pieces on the end of my finger. And they're being a little bit more stubborn than usual. Come on. Oh yeah, they're still there. Okay. Got one that just will not come off. There we are. Okay, so now you've got the back piece and the front piece done. So then you just start laying your butterflies on the pink one on top of the black one and lining things up. Make sure you line up the antenna. And if you line up the antenna, the rest of it will line up too. At least I didn't call them antlers this time. Usually they are known as antlers in my craft room. Isn't that pretty? Look at how pretty that is. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. I think this is one of my favorite die sets. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. This one is. Okay, I'll get it all. And the beauty of these adhesive sheets is that they're not really super tacky and permanent, so you can kind of pick things up and move them around till they match up with everything. There we are. That'll do. And give it a good burnish. Just be careful on the back because you don't want to rip anything. There we are. Okay, so now we need to cut off some of the butterflies. So we need this one and this one intact, and the other three we need to pull off. So let me get my scissors here. So we're keeping this one and the big one. So I'm just going to do a little snippy here. And a little snipping here to remove this little one. And you kind of got to keep the contour of the die going as you cut these things out. So I'm just looking at this one to see how they've got it so I can maintain integrity on this side. As the little ones we'll be trimming afterwards to help them look not quite so stubby on one side. So there it is. There's the piece for the inside. And the other little pieces. So my inside piece, and we'll do some stamping on it. Get all my tools out of the way here. So the first thing is to stamp. I'm just moving my butterflies so they don't get full of ink. Oh, apparently things are starting to get a little cockeyed. So straighten them all out so you can see. Okay, so there's the inside. A friend is someone who chooses you out of a whole world of people. And I'm going to stamp that first. And I'm praying that this works. And you want it towards the center fold, but not right on it. card is crooked. Just gently rub your finger over the top to transfer the ink. There we go. And the other one. There we go. And this is, I'm stamping in fresh fig. It's a little crooked, but it'll do. Look, how did I get, oh, I got mung all over my arm. I have to put a butterfly there to cover that. Okay, so now we need to put all the bubbles on. See, there's a butterfly. I can put one there if I want. So we'll do the lemon lime twist ones first. And they're the big bubbles. There's two different bubbles. There's a big one and a little one, and we're going to use the bigger one. And I'm going to get out a piece of scrap paper so I'm not stamping directly onto my grid paper. There we are. Okay, big blob. This is always the fun part when you're doing this kind of a card that has all of these little bubbles on. You can kind of go anywhere you want. There we are. Now while I'm at it, I'm going to do the envelope too. Make sure the envelope flap is up. I was stamping another card this morning and got the stamping on the envelope upside down. Okay, there's the lemon lime twist done. Put that out of the way, and we'll get out the powder pink and the little blob. And then you just kind of fill in between the big ones. Just to make it look cute. The blobs up there. There's the envelope done. Filled in on the card. Let's make sure I don't put the tail of the card in there. And I think I'll put one little blob up there just to balance it a bit. And because I can, stick one in the middle. Okay. That's the powder pink done. Now we still have a fresh fig butterfly to put in there. Or two, because remember I have a mung to cover up. I know mung's not really a word, but in my vocabulary it's a word. And we'll put that butterfly right there, and then we'll just stick one over there too. There we are. Now that's all ready. Now the trick to getting this center in so that it doesn't bind is you just put your adhesive on the edges, and the center of this is free flowing. See? I did put some adhesive just a couple of inches in from each side as well. So we'll put the adhesive on. There's one of those little pink dots. Put the adhesive on each edge. Yes, I stamped that earlier and it was not a good thing, so I had to create another, or stamp again on stamp the inside again. And here, and I don't think I'm going to put it up here because that's awfully close to the edge. Now this one, you see I went over. Well, I'm not going to cut that off. I'm going to just take the liner off of it because I have to do my rabbit ears anyways, like that, and then you just fold it back. Then you don't get sticky all over your scissors when you're trying to cut adhesive. And you just have to fold it back. Come on, piece. Part of the problem is that I cut my nails yesterday, so I don't have a lot of nail left. There we go. Pokey tool to the rescue. Okay, now we're going to put this right onto our base. And there's, I hope you can see that. So I'm going to fold it, going to line it up where I want it, which is just kind of on top of the fold there, but paying attention to the top and the bottom. Oh, well, that was kind of dumb. Oh no, I did. Ah, okay. It's going to be a good day, I can see that. I do know what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't remember, but okay, so I'm just going to take the bunny rabbit ears off of the layer that's on the underside. Open it up and just make sure it's well attached there. And then you can take these bunny ears off completely, because all you're going to do is just close your card. And this way it sits where it needs to be. So when you open it, see, it doesn't bind. If I had to put it, oh, it doesn't bind, but it's not sitting there properly. Uh-oh. Oh well, I think I'll just fix that. I'll fix it later rather than doing it on camera, because I just have to lift that up and move it over a bit. But I wanted to show you the butterflies. Not the little ones, the big ones. So these fit on here like this. So I'm just going to put a bit of Tombow on these two edges. But I want to make a little mark underneath where the edge of the cardstock is, so that I don't go past that spot. There. Put that out of the way for now. Get my Tombow. Love me some Tombow. And just hope it comes out. And it's not. Oh, here's my pin. I always have a pin on my table just so I can reach in there and grab out any dried stuff that's hanging around, so that it will actually come out. Come on. There it is. I didn't get enough of the dried stuff out. And a little bit on the tail here, just to make sure it sticks. There you go. Now, while that's drying, because I want to show you a little trick with Tombow too, that it will turn into itty bitty glue dots, but you have to let it dry a bit. Okay, I'm done stamping, so I'll take this out of the way now. Get rid of my garbage here. And find my scissors, because remember the ones we cut off, now we have to go back and trim them so that they don't have these little squared off areas. So you just gently play with them till you get it the way you want it. This one is up here. Just be careful you don't cut off the antenna. Yeah, ask me how I know that. Yes, I did. I had an antenna-less butterfly at one point. And just going to, there, that's better. Okay. Now, just going to move these out of the way while they finish drying. So this is back at the front of the card. So I need to put some Tombow on the bodies, because I like my butterflies free floating. Now, isn't that weird? My butterflies can free float, but those edges of that cardstock can't. I know, it's weird. Okay, so the biggest one I'm going to put in the middle, and just pay attention to where your stamping is, because you don't want it to cover up your stamping. And then we'll put one up here. And we'll put one down here. These kind of remind me of, you know, those butterfly decorations you used to be able to get for your house, and there was 3 of them, and you just lined them in a row going up the side of your house. That's what this one reminds me of. Okay, that's still not dry, so I'm going to put the rhinestones on here. Do you see how I keep my rhinestones in one of the clear mount cases with the names, so then they sit all lined up on a bookshelf that I have right beside where I stamp, so they're always available. And I'm going to use, all 3 sizes of rhinestones. So a big one for the big one, and a medium one for the medium one, and a small one, come on, for the small one. Because remember, cards are not finished till you add the bling. And that's the only bling. I haven't used any Wink of Stella or anything. Okay, so that one this is dry enough now, we can go ahead. So what happens is, see when they've started to go clear? When they all go clear, this kind of Tombow in the green container has latex in it. So if you're allergic to latex, don't buy this one. But because it's got latex in it, it doesn't ever dry. So these clear dots are still sticky. And you're just going to lay them down right up against that fold mark. Just hold it for a couple of seconds. And then when they dry, clear like that, then they're just like little itty bitty teeny tiny glue dots. Now, if you don't have Tombow, you can use glue dots for this. There. So there it is. And there it closes. Uh-oh. It hangs out. Okay, so you want to make sure that doesn't happen. Should have had it down a little bit further. But live and learn. This one works. See, when it closes, it goes over. Now that's probably just trying to see what the difference in the folds are. Now see, this one that I did originally is further over this way, which would give it more room over here to fold into. So when you're doing your scoring, score your 2 1/4 inches from the center, not from out there. Let me show you. Okay, so there's the center. And I've scored at 2, or I marked at 2 1/4 there. This one, I marked at 2 1/4 from here, which doesn't give it enough room. Okay, I just told you that completely backwards because I had them all mixed up. Okay, this is the one that doesn't fit. And this one is measured from the center over 2 1/4 inches. This one that fits is measured 2 1/4 from here, from the edge of the cardstock. So now all the card kits that I've prepped, I'm going to have to go back and fix, because otherwise they're not going to fit into the envelope like that. Let's see if I can pull this up and move it down and see if it makes a difference. I'm just gently lifting up on my Tombow. I don't want to rip anything, so I'm going very slowly. Another reason I like Tombow as well, it hasn't sat there for too long. It still allows you to lift it up and change things a bit, but you have to be very, 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 very careful. Okay, so let's just move this down this way a bit. Just want to see if this is going to work. No, it's going to bind the body of the butterfly, and I don't want that. So that goes right along the line. This goes down here as far as you can make it go. And we'll just have to pretend that I did it right and it fits in the envelope. Let's see what it does when I put it in the envelope. We may be lucky for this one. There we go. It fits. You just got to do a little bit of folding over top of that wing like that. So now you've seen the real me and how sometimes I don't do things right. didn't put a butterfly on the envelope though. Oh, I need a butterfly on that envelope, because otherwise it just doesn't look right. You gotta have the contrast of the light and the dark, just to make it pretty. Okay, so here's the one we created today that doesn't quite fit in the envelope. Here's the one I created before. When you're measuring, make sure you measure over 2 1/4 inches from the corner of the cardstock, not from the center of the cardstock. There you go. So club members, don't forget, there's your May Hostess code, so Janet gets the rewards from your orders. And I'll be back soon with another wonderful card. Thanks for stamping in my craft room with me today. Stamp and Smiles. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.